I'm Craig Winger, and today we're going to talk about Table 5 of the NRS. And in the past, Table 5 has been sort of problematic from everybody's point of view because no one really wanted to go out of their way to collect goals, student goals from each individual student. Large programs had problems with collecting, spending so much time with students trying to get them to open up and share what they want to do. And in the long run, the work we had to do in Tallahassee with what they did collect really didn't give us much positive feedback, and the feds were not pleased with it either. Since that happened, the feds have decided they're going to change the Table 5 collection process, and today Mark is going to share with you how that has changed and how it's going to affect us, hopefully, in a positive manner. Mark?
Yeah, I think, and this is a really good thing too, because I think Table 5 is critically important. I think when we talk about desirable outcomes for adult education students, we want to know what happens to them after they leave the program. I mean, it's absolutely critical, and I think what we're going to have a better instrument now with this new Table 5.
Yeah, with our current legislative leadership and some of the other people, they're very, very interested in how effective adult education is in terms of helping people get into the workforce, getting into post-secondary education, and moving forward with their lives beyond the literacy level. So, take it away.
Great. Thanks, Craig. Before the 12-13 reporting year, students were placed in follow-up cohorts based on their self-reported goals, as we mentioned earlier. Beginning with the 12-13 NRS reporting year, students are no longer tracked based on their self-reported goals. Instead, they are placed in follow-up cohorts based on factors such as the type of program they're enrolled in, their employment status upon entry into the program, and if they earned a diploma. All NRS-eligible students leaving the program during the reporting year will be tracked for employment outcomes. Adult high school students at the ASE high functioning level and AGE students taking all 5 subtests of the GED will be tracked to determine if they earn a diploma. All diploma earners will be tracked to determine if they enroll in post-secondary education. So, where did the data come from? Enrollment status is based on data submitted to the state by districts, colleges, and CBOs. In a word, the data come from you. Employment status is based on an administrative records match between enrollment records and records from the, help me with this, Florida Education and Placement Information Program, or FETPIP. FETPIP is a state database that compiles data from a number of different sources, such as the Unemployment Insurance Program database, post-secondary enrollment records, the military, and the Federal Employment Data System. Diploma status is based on diploma codes submitted to the state and a data match with the Florida GED test database. Now, let's go over each of the new Table 5 measurements one by one. Measure number 1, enter employment. Students in this cohort were not found employed through the data match in the quarter in which they exited the program. We then count the number of those students found employed the quarter after they exited the program. The entered employment rate is found by dividing these numbers. So in other words, we are looking to see if the student was employed when they left, and if they were found employed, they are included in the numerator of the measure. If not, they're not included in the numerator. Measure number 2, retain employment. Students in this cohort were found employed through the data match in the quarter in which they exited the program, or they entered employment the quarter after. We then count the number of these students found employed in the 3rd quarter after they exited the program. The retained employment rate is found by dividing these numbers. Now, bear with me here. I know this is confusing. You just hang on and rewind if you have to, I think it will make sense. So In the first measure, we were looking at, did students who were not employed when they left the program, did they find employment? Measure 2, retain employment, we're looking at students, if they were employed when they left the program, or if they were employed just after, the quarter after, including those we found employed in the previous measure, we then look out further along. We look out 3 quarters out instead of just 1 quarter. Did they still have a job 3 quarters out into the future? So that's the retain employment measure. Measure number 3, obtain secondary credential. There are 2 types of students in this follow-up cohort. Students who are in adult high school, it's just adult students only, not co-enrolled, at the ASE high level who exit the program during the reporting year. That's group number 1. The other group of students are students enrolled in adult education in the reporting year who completed the battery of all 5 GED subtests at some time during the reporting year. We then count the number of these students in both groups. We count the number of these students who earned a secondary diploma. The secondary credential attainment rate is found by dividing the number of students who earned a diploma by the adult high school and GED test-taking cohort. So, to sum up, this means that we're looking at advanced level adult high school students. Did they get a diploma? We're also looking at students who took all 5 subtests of the GED. Did they earn a diploma? The GED is really like a pass rate, essentially. Measure number 4, enter post-secondary education. Students in this cohort exited during the program year with a diploma. So this is our high school diploma graduate cohort. We then count the number of these students found enrolled in a Florida post-secondary institution in the reporting year, okay, the reporting year in which they earned the diploma, and we also look the following year. Post-secondary transition rates will be calculated by dividing these numbers, the number found in post-secondary over your graduate cohort. And there are 2 separate rates representing the 1-year and 2-year time windows. So we're going to have a rate for the reporting year, how many were found in post-secondary in the reporting year, and a separate rate for the following year.
All right. Do you think that ultimately everybody will enjoy using Table 5 as much as, or more than they did previously because of all the chaos we had before?
I'm not sure I could use the word enjoyment to describe anything anybody does with NRS, but I do think it will be useful. I think it's going to be a better tool. I think it's going to have a lot more validity because we're going to have more students in the cohort, and it's not relying on, as you said in the beginning, it's not relying on the reporting of self-reported student goals. We're deriving the cohorts logically, and I think this data can give folks out there a really good glimpse of what's going on with their students when they leave the program.
I see this really fitting well with the Pathways program in the state for those agencies that are actively doing it. One thing I question, though, is the lag time. Mm-hmm. And I think the data we're going to be getting is very useful, but it's still, again, going to be a year later, really, right, to be of value to them. But if they, over a long period of time, I think it'll ultimately work its way out and be very, very useful for everybody.
Well, I think the secondary credential that's more immediate. Yeah, that you can get a look that year, and the initial inter-employment rate I think is a little more immediate. But you're right. There is a bit of a lag, but I think that's the nature of the beast when we talk about follow-up outcomes. So I think that's something we sort of have to just live with.
All right. Well, that's great. This has been very helpful, I think, for everybody, and we'll be looking forward to using this when it happens.
Okay. Well, it's coming. 12-13. That when NRS rolls out, and for the 12-13 reporting year, you're going to see this brand It's brand spanking new Table 5 for your use. And if you have any questions, you can contact the Division of Career and Adult Education. The information is provided to you here, and we would be happy to assist you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.